All right. All right. How did you guys come up with the concept of this?
Actually, the concept was already established in Toronto. What ended up happening was we were going to open up pop-ups. And with their criteria, it put us on hold. So that we had to wait because their criteria was we want to learn from the Popeyes and right from the future. So the guy that opened it up found out that Buffalo didn't have a Popeyes, decided that he wanted it. He applied for it, they gave it to him because he owned 64 Popeyes. So we were put on hold. And in that interim, for about 2 years of waiting, we just decided we did not want Popeyes. And my stepson lives in Toronto. And he approached us and said, why don't you guys look at opening up here? And we filled out the application and we were accepted the very next day.
Did you guys know about Heroes before?
No. Very new. When we went there, we found out what their criteria was, how they wanted to function, how they function in Toronto, and we thought that we could bring that same concept here to the United States. This is the only one in the United States.
So you guys looking to branch out after? Hope maybe one day.
We're looking into it. We're looking into it.
All right. So I don't know if you're able to hear it. What's the typical day work for you guys?
A typical day work. But here,
Yeah.
a typical day work is 10 o'clock, open up the door just for one employee and myself usually, or Corey, to come in and we set up. The doors open up at 11. And setting up, I mean, we have to get the kitchen ready, we have to strain the oil, make sure it's fresh, ready to go. We have to make sure that we have our milkshake machine intact, have the grills on, fryers on, table set up, everything wiped off, floors up, everything is clean. And then we open the doors at 11 o'clock. From 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock, we have our workers working. 2 o'clock, I relieve them for a break. So they can have an hour break. And if it's, I'll relieve one at a time. If it's very busy, I'll do one at a time. If it's not busy, I'll let them both go and then I'll run the store myself. He does the same thing in the evening.
All right. How do you tend to deal with employees? What's your hiring process?
We have basically 3 to 4 basic rules that you have to follow. Number one is when we hire you, you're no call, no show, you automatically fire. You don't even bother coming back. That's the standard rule. If you steal from us, don't bother coming back. Ask us for a day off. Yeah. We don't want you being disrespectful to each other, nor do you be disrespectful to the customers. So if Corey and I have a beef, we're not going to talk about it in front of the customer. We're going to go downstairs and we're going to talk it out. If you're working with her and you got a beef with her or you're mad at her or whatever, you don't display it here. Take that. So that's why we try not to hire couples. We try not to hire husband and wives. We even try not to hire friends and family. We try to keep it where it's going to be a distance because that causes a lot of problems. We've been very fortunate. In the short time that we've been open, we really only had to get rid of about 4 or 5 employees. But that was basically because of the first couple of rules that I told you. No call, no show. You're supposed to be here at 6. Don't come in at 6:30. We do on our webpage and Facebook. If you like us on Facebook and you sign up for everything, you get every week, the deal of the week automatically sent to you, the coupon. Not only that, you also get on your birthday a coupon sent to you that you get a free meal.
Nice.
So everybody that signs up, they get this automatically comes. So it's different ways that we do marketing to promote the business. We have where we approach the school over there, and anytime that any of the students come out and they buy from us, 10% goes back to the school.
That's cool.
Oh, nice.
That's the way to go.
Yeah.
Why did you pick this location? To me, it's the perfect location.
Yes, yeah. On Elmwood.
To me, it's
If
the
we
perfect
told you that story, you'd be. Actually, it ended up. It was when we were starting and we already got the franchise. We were looking for a place to be. We originally was going to be in Niagara Falls,
Oh, nice.
and what ended up happening was that the mayor approached us and said, "You got to open up in Buffalo because this is the only one, and it put Buffalo on the map." And it went through the whole 9 yards, and so we started looking. And my wife found this place. Well, she found this in a place on Chippewa. Told us to come and look at it. And in the meantime, Corey was out of town. And it was in the wintertime. It was in February. And so I came, climbed over the snow mounds, and looked at it. And we asked if we can just take part of it. But they wanted us to take the whole thing. And so it was like, all right. So we took pictures of it, and then we sent it to Toronto and said, hey, we found a spot. We like the location, but we didn't want the whole place. We ended up getting the whole place, but we ended up gutting it out, taking this side and leasing that side out.
That's the best way. So that's how you guys are funded.
Yeah.
All right. What do you think? What are your goals through this franchise at Harris Burgers?
Actually, that's very easy for us because when we negotiated our deal with them, our deal was to be territorial. We have territorial rights for New York State, which means anybody who wants to open up another hero has to come to us. So that was our goal. Our goal was to put as many heroes as we can in New York State before we branch out to other different states. So that's where we are right now.
That's a great deal. All right. How big is your staff, and are they difficult to manage?
Every staff is difficult to manage, no matter what size it is. For any business you get in, if you have one employee, it's difficult to manage. And the reason for that is because of the fact that everybody has their own uniqueness of what they need to do and how they're going to do it. For instance, if you're working for me and you need to have off Saturday, but I need you to be here Saturday, that's a problem. But it's got to be managed. Our staff right now, we have 19 people on staff, not including ourselves and not including Tracy. We have 19 people. It's very difficult for us to manage the staff because of the fact of they're young. So if a party is going on Friday night and you got to work Friday night, I'm calling in because I want to go to the party. And then you want us to come and say, well, okay, you are not here Friday night, but we're going to let you work Saturday night. Then we're going to take away from her, who's supposed to work Saturday night, so that you can get back your hours. That's the difficulty in managing the staff. You can't do it. You have to have a set schedule. You have to let it go. You have to have set rules that everybody has to apply by. And that's what we tend to do.
How do you guys keep morale high? How do you guys keep everybody enthusiastic?
We started out doing it very well by giving out Employee of the Month gift card. We haven't done it in the last couple of months because just time frame. We're trying to make sure we got things together. When we first opened up, after 3 weeks, we did it. And then we said, okay, we're going to continue to do this every other month. That's one of the goals that we want to do. It's difficulty because being a new business here, trying to get our hand on everything that's going on, trying to develop the flow of people coming in, finding out that from December to right now it's been slow because of the weather.
Yeah.
And we didn't understand that. So really to look at our employees and say, okay, who did the best job, it wasn't fair during that time because it wasn't a lot of customers that came in to say, you could have been doing great, cleaning the place, interacting with the customers that's there. However, how would you interact when 100 customers are in front of you?
It's a longer line.
It's a longer line. Well, we found out in the beginning when we first opened, we had one employee who was great at it, but then we had some who was panicked. What do I do? We can't do this no more. We can't handle it. We had a young kid who, the very first day he worked, came to me after 1 hour and said, "This is not for me. This is too stressful. I can't multitask like that." And he left.
That's a big understanding. Like, what would you guys consider? I wouldn't. As somebody looking to get into probably a franchise like this, what would you recommend? Somebody like a prospective franchisee come to you guys.
We've had that happen already. The issue there is that it's very easy. If you come to us, we're going to tell you exactly the steps that we took to get here. However, we're going to show you that some of the steps we took were difficult, and we wouldn't want you to take those steps. But we're going to show you what we had to do in order to survive so that you can survive. One of the major things that anybody coming in for the franchise want to know how much money you make.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that comes out of your mouth. How much money you going to make? The fact of the matter with a franchise is when you start it, it's not really about how much money you're making, because at the first year and a half to 2 years, you're not going to make any money in the business. And that's what you have to understand in business alone. You're not here to make money in the first 2 years. It's the future. So, yes, when you start getting it, you're going to get big numbers. The first year you open up, you might be making $500,000, $1 million. But what you didn't realize is that your food cost is $250,000. Your labor cost is $400,000. Your miscellaneous supplies that you got to get is $200,000. So when you look at that cost that you're spending, right there, you already spent $800,000, but you only brought in $600,000. So it's coming out of your pocket. That's the stuff that we're learning. That's the stuff that we're going through. Yes, both of us had other businesses, but they're easily ran. I own my own real estate company. He owns his own DJ business. Totally different. Totally easily made. Real estate, you manage very easy. You sell a house, you get paid. You don't have any other expenses. You don't have to worry about employees, because as a real estate person, as an employee, you sell a house, you get your commission, half the commission go to you, half come back to the company. It's no different. It's a difference when you got a business like this, is because you have other expenses that you don't count for. You have your insurances. See, we didn't realize at the beginning that we had to pay for workers' comp insurance. If one of the workers get hurt, they got to be paid. Okay? We have to have liability insurance. Somebody walks in here and trips, we got to be able to cover that. All right? These are things that when you're opening up the business, you don't think about. These are the tangibles that are sitting on the side that someone comes to you after the fact and say, "Oh, by the way, you need to have this." Oh, that's another $3,000 a month that you didn't encounter. Oh, by the way, you got to do this. Your marketing costs, just for marketing, is $25,000 a year. So, again, that comes out to $2,200 a month.
All right. How do you deal with unsatisfied customers?
Two ways that we do it, and it is essentially
we take the attitude that all customers are right, whether they are or not. All customers are right. If your food you're not happy with your food, we'll remake it. That's the first thing we'll do. What we tend not to do, and we try to stay, that's the least and last resort, is give back money. Because if you give back money, that food is already wasted. You've already had to pay for it already. So you try not to give back money. But we will remake your order, or we will give you a coupon that your next meal you get is free. We sit to talk to you about what was really wrong with it.
Find out how you can improve.
And then we will correct.
Right. All right. I know you said you started out in real estate. You started off with DJing, right?
I didn't start out in real estate.
Oh, I'm sorry. What did you start off doing?
A physician at Roswell Park.
All right.
Yes.
That's right. If you guys had a chance to start your career over again, what would you do different?
Career as in this, or career as in
Everything.
I wouldn't do anything different.
Like the path that you took.
Yeah, I was at Roswell Park for 37 years. I love my job. I can still be there right now. I'm a consultant right now. I still do cases right now. I wouldn't change a thing.
Want a picture of you? Want me to take a picture so you can be in it?
Oh, no.
Real estate for me was a hobby. I got into real estate, believe it or not. The reason I just got my own real estate company was I got out of school, and while I was in med school, my grandparents asked me to come back here to take care of them. My intentions were not to come back to Buffalo, but I said, okay. I graduated from Fisk. I said, all right, I'll start at UB, and I'll come back and take care of them. And in the meantime, my grandfather said, okay, you come back, I'll help you buy your first house. So I went looking for the house, and ironically, it's right around the corner from him that I bought this house. But when I bought it, I had no concept. I got a real estate agent, went in, looked at it. I liked the house. It was very inexpensive. It was a 2-family, so I could rent out the upstairs. I can live downstairs, and that was paying for the rent. Paying for the mortgage, so I had no problem. Closed on the house on May 1st. On May 2nd, the sheriff's department came to the door while I was moving stuff in and handed me a summons.
Wow.
And said, either you tear down the garage or you fix it. I'm like, I never even looked at the garage. What are you talking about? And he says, well, and the reason I did look at it is because the lady that owned the house said her son had the key and he wasn't around. So I couldn't get in the garage. I said, well, and the real estate agent told me, you're not living in the garage, don't worry about it. Well, needless to say, when I opened up the garage door, I forced it open. The back wall was coming in this way, the roof had holes in it,
Wow.
and it was collapsing. And I had to use all my money to buy the house. Called the lawyer said, buyer beware. I said, what do you mean? They never told me. He said, well, you should have looked at it. I was told I couldn't. I ended up had to spend an extra $7,000 to rebuild the garage. At that point, I said, this will never happen to me again and nobody else. I went and got my real estate license, got my broker's license, opened up my own company, said I would help people to make sure that this wouldn't happen while I was still working at the hospital.
That's a whole topic I want to talk to you about
Exactly.
after.
Now here's a DJ, you can ask him.
Well,
he's right.
I'm actually a postal carrier. I've been down there for 25 years. And I DJ on the side as well. In the real estate as well. The DJ thing was just a side gig. It's something I had a passion of doing. I'm pretty much well known in Buffalo. I don't know if you guys are from Buffalo, but I'm pretty much well known like a legend in Buffalo with DJing. That was just a side hobby as well. Just to get extra money, just to hide some money, you know. So the government ain't taxing. I met Adam back, 9 99, 98.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
He started doing my taxes. And in 2006, I had an idea of opening up a Popeyes. He had already had the idea and got, accepted back then, but he didn't like the location. So we teamed up back in 2006 with a mission to open up a Popeyes. And like you said, 2 years into the thing, we got denied, and this is how we hooked up and started doing this. But we got denied by about 6, 7 or different franchises before we
Finally got one.
Actually, it wasn't really that they wasn't
They didn't want to
denial.
come to New York
They didn't
State.
want to come to New York State. We had tried several.
Bojangles, Chick-fil-A.
Oh, so you guys are trying to bring like
yeah,
the big
we
stuff.
were trying that.
Yeah,
So
they didn't,
another thing
like
he didn't mention, once we got to the point where we found out we were going to do heroes, and we sat down with them, we had already had our stuff together already from being turned down so many times. We had the paperwork ready, we had the traffic count ready for the street, the walking count, and the population monies of the people in the area. So it was real easy for us to sit down with somebody and show them what we've done and just change the name, change the area, give it to them. Once we sat down and showed them this, there was no denying it. It was already built. We had our stuff already built up, and we were told, no, we can't do this, we can't do that. So many times, there was no denying us. That's why we got it and signed the dotted line when we got this. And it's funny, I tell people this story, this is a true story. And it was 2 years that after Popeyes had told us no, put us on hold. The same day we went to Toronto to sign our contract, it was the same day that Popeyes opened down the street. The exact same day. The very same day that they had lines out to the street. I don't know if you guys were here, but they had lines out to the street for months. And security guards, it was that popular in Buffalo. We didn't have a Popeyes. But anyway, that's pretty much how we got to this path with this. We try to run this thing somewhat like a family thing, but some people take advantage of it because they think we're too nice. But we are very blessed and lucky to have this. It's a long journey being turned down by it. It wasn't easy. We were turned down. We said Bojangles, Chick-fil-A, Bubba Gumps. Churches Chicken.
Churches accepted.
Yeah.
Churches, but churches couldn't come to New York State.
But it was this, we were ready. Once we got to the point where we saw something we really liked, put our information in front of them, there was no denying us because of the failures from the beginning.
And that leads right to the next question. You guys answered it already. It was going to be, what are some of your failures and how have you learned from them? And I see you've learned from real estate, and y'all both have a lot, like seven to nine letters until you get to the 8th one, and it works.
It worked. Yeah. Like Steve Harvey. You guys ever seen that Steve Harvey thing on Facebook?
If you jump, you have to jump.
We did that. And I knew exactly what he was talking about when he said that, because we did that.
Yeah, we
and we're
did.
still doing it. It's a true story, man. And it was just unbelievable that that place opened the same day we signed the dotted line. The exact same day, I swear, the same day. We were so hurt when they told us no 2 years before, but who would have thought on the same day of their
2 years
opening,
later,
we would be signing a contract for our own franchise and New York State. First one in the United States.
Even with that, as he said, he's right. When they told us that they were putting us on hold, we were first like, all right, we're still going to get it. We're still going to get it, no matter what. That's why we waited 2 years. We were just that confident.
Nothing came. No signs were coming. Nothing's coming.
Nothing was coming. We were just waiting. And finally, we did call back and say, what's going on? And what was told to us is that we're still on hold until he gets his 5th one open. Because Popeye's criteria was you had to have 5. You have to open up 5. 1 every year.
wow.
So he's got to open up 5. So if you think about it, he opened up that one. He opened up one in Niagara Falls. He's still got 3 more to do, and would have been still waiting.
Could have been waiting 5 years later.
Even later, it could have been even longer than that. So we ended up just saying, that's it. We
Can't wait any longer.
We're not going to wait. We'll find something else. And we did. We literally started looking at the other different brands. Matter of fact, Corey forgot to mention the one from New York.
Pudgy's.
Pudgy's in Brooklyn. They wanted us to open up Pudgy's here, and they were pushing for us to open it up.
They pretty much was giving it to us.
They gave it to us just to get it going. They wanted us to open up Pudgy's because we could have Nathan hot dogs in there and Long John Silver's.
I know what you guys are talking about now.
And we could have had the whole 9 yards. And we was like, we don't know if that's going to work here. Ted's is the hot dog place, and so we fought it, but we looked at so many different franchises. We had a guy that from Seattle, Washington, who was trying to really push us into several different franchises. Not just what we was looking at food, yes, but they were trying to get us to do not just chicken, do fish, do ribs, do everything. They were just pushing us that way. Yeah, and we just said, no. We kept turning them down because it wasn't something we wanted. Even with this, when we were first told Heroes, the first thing I said was, nope, I don't want no subs. I don't want to deal with no subs. That's just going to be a waste of time. And my stepson said, go look at the menu. It's not subs. And when I looked at it, I saw it was healthy food. I called him Thanksgiving night and said, Corey, look at this website. We should do this. He didn't even look at it. He just said, no, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and put it in. Go ahead and do it.
Then I looked at it.
And then he looked at it. And then when I put it in that night. He went and looked at it the next day. They called the next day and said, are you really truthfully want this? And we said yes. And we went to Toronto that following Thursday. Wow. And that's when we signed up. So it was like he said, it was like we had our business plan already set. But the thing was it a good fit for us? And that's what we had to find out. And the only way we found out if it was a good fit, he came up with a very good idea. And that idea was, let's get a limousine and let's take a bunch of people to Toronto and let them try the food. We did that. And the only thing we said when we got back in the limousine, look, we just want you to be honest with us. But before we got off the limousine, tell us the truth. When you get back in here, tell us the truth. If you like it, if we should do it.
It's creative.
And everybody got there. They didn't have to pay for their food. Got all they wanted. Whatever they wanted off the menu. When they got back in the limo, it was hands down. You guys got to do this. You got to open it up. This food is too good. You got to open it up. And we were still a little hesitant. Because it was Canadian. It was a Canadian base. And how is that going to be accepted here?
In the U.S.
And in this community. And we found, we ran through those struggles. We ran through those. In this community, people came out, why are you opening up here? Why are you bringing that company here? You're taking our money.
Where y'all from?
And we had to sit there and literally prove to people that we were born and raised in Buffalo.
They didn't mind the fact that we were black. They just didn't want Canadians
coming down.
Right.
Don't want they didn't want somebody outside of the city to come in.
When they found out that we were born and raised here,
they embraced us.
They accepted it, and then they started supporting the food.
And we actually made this corner. This corner was a mess.
Yes.
This block, it was a mess. I don't know if you guys seen it before we got it, but
if you'd have saw it,
we made this corner look the best it ever looked. This is
all we're passing now. It looks beautiful. That's what I'm saying. Perfect location.
It wasn't like this.
Looking at us like, hey, man, you see the corner, you guys? I mean, we put new windows in, we did everything, and next door our tenant was black too. So when we came, they was like, who is these folks? And then they was, what do y'all do? What's your name? You know, so we made a big impression on the neighborhood, very big, because the corner was vacant for like almost 2 years.
2 years.
You know, and they didn't like that. So we came, and we had to show out, to show them proof and say, yeah, we here. And they honestly, I can tell you, the people, 95% of the people that know this area, that's over here, they love us.
Actually, before you guys came, I was actually just while we were waiting, spoke to Red Door. I spoke to the animal place.
Yeah.
They know about you guys. They said you're great people.
So you know, we got a good. think, we got a good connection. We all about business. Stupid stuff happens, but it's something we really wanted to do. We spent a lot of our money, a lot of our own money, trying to get this. We didn't get no grants. We didn't get no kind of grants because of the area that we were in. This area was not.
Well, they had a grant for the area, but they moved it from this area to down past the church.
Yeah.
So we missed it.
We didn't get no money.
Barely.
Now, if this was in the hood, we could have. They had all kind of money to give
Yeah.
us, but right here, this area didn't need it. They didn't need no money. So we had to come out of our pockets. A lot of this money came out of our pockets and loans and borrowing from family members that I still owe. But we made it happen, and eventually, by the end of the year, we should be coming back to normal.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you guys for the interview. One more question that I would like to ask you guys. How do you guys define success?
Success for me is being able to help people, being able to show that you're doing a positive, keeping all negatives behind you, showing that people can look at you and say, this is what you have to do in order to make something work.
Honest.
Honest day's work is success.
All right, for you?
Pretty much the same. Honesty is hard work. It's basic 9 to 5, the old school way. Going to work, clocking in, and building. Getting something that you worked for. You didn't sneak, or you didn't have to hustle and do nothing wrong to get it. I was never a super A student in school. I made C's and D's, and sometimes an A. But I knew once I got a job, I can be there on time. I can be nice to folks. I can just be there and work. Don't cause any problems, and you move up. And that's what I did. I wasn't magna cum laude, whatever you call it. I wasn't 4.0 with all that. I just was a good person. I went to church. I didn't cuss my mother and father. I just did the basic right things. Raise your kids. Don't have 15 kids all over the place. I got one daughter. I've been married 25 years. I just did the basic stuff to open the doors for me to get where I was at. I just did the basic stuff. I didn't go over and beyond. I just went to work. I didn't call in every day. I just did my job. Exactly what they asked me to do, I did it. They couldn't say nothing to me. And good things started to happen once you're doing the right things. You know what I'm saying? I'm not out here trying to stick nobody. If you're constantly doing the right stuff, good things is going to always come your way eventually. It just takes time. That's how my thing is for success. Just keep doing the right thing, doing honest stuff, and it'll eventually come.
Exactly.
I'm not looking for trouble, and trouble ain't looking for me. So that's success for me.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.